Hey there, nation. Welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with the episode of the Deathly Desire. This is our series, little mini-series that we're dedicating to the building, painting, as well as assembling of our studio's 3,000 point Slaanesh Legion of Chaos army, and this is the current progress we made so far. As you can see, we actually have about half of the units, half of the army actually fully completed and ready to game. Actually, a little bit actually more than that. Depending on how we kit out this unit army that we have so far, we actually have enough to play 2,000 points based on what we have right now. So because that, we could actually start making battle reports with these guys once once everything kind of gets back to normal again. And of course, my friends can come over and we can start wargaming and stuff. Until then, though, we just gotta kind of self-isolate and shelter in place and just kind of take care of ourselves from that point. But hopefully, when this all blows over, we can start making some battle reports for you guys on that one. So as you can see, we are about a third of the way through, about a half, depending on how you want to point it out. About half the miniatures, about 2/3 way through in terms of points. So the last time we worked on this, we talked about these charioteers. We talked about that unit. We also talked about this huge honking unit of Bestigors that we're rocking for this army. The nice thing about the miniatures in this army, because it's mixed up with different miniatures, we can actually run this as either one huge horde brick of Bestigors, or I can divide into a small unit of Bestigors and a small unit of Chaos Marauders, or anything I really want at this point as well. We also talked about the Bestigor Destroyer as well as the Doom Bull that we painted up. We also talked about, now we have two more units. We have this brand new unit here, which is called the Flesh Carnival. It is a unit of 16 Forsaken, Mark Slaanesh. And the other unit that we have added to this unit, of course, is our 5 Warhounds as well. So we're going to talk about those guys real quick. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the Warhounds first, and then we'll move on to the Flesh Carnival. So that being said, let's get this video on a roll. Alright, so the very first unit we're going to talk about is this unit of Warhounds of Chaos we have here, which is 5 basic Warhounds. Nothing really too special about them. As you can see, we kind of went with this kind of gray fur kind of motif on these guys. And the reason why we decided to go with this gray color is because when I was actually painting these guys up, I wanted them to match up kind of stylistically with the unit of Forsaken, which are these guys here. We'll talk a little bit more about these guys, but these guys actually have grayish flesh is what they end up having for these guys. So I wanted to make these Warhounds kind of blend in with those guys as well. Plus, gray is a nice complementary color to purple. So what we ended up doing, first of all, is that we actually gave these things kind of like a black fur is what we did. We based the fur parts in pavement, and then we painted the entire body in skyline. And then we did is we dry brushed the entire miniature in granite gray from Apple Barrel paint. And of course, we used kiwi to pick out all of the various scales and stuff. Same thing with using bright magenta for the lips as well as the tongue. And we used khaki for all the stingers and spines and bones and things that came out of these guys. And of course, once again, the bases, of course, we use the same kind of basing scheme. We use Concord Grape on the bases, dry brush with granite gray to give kind of like this really weird warp effect. And then we run the entire bases in gray as well to kind of match up with the rest of the army. And like I said, your bases in an army does a lot to kind of tie the army together. So you could have some really drastic looking paint jobs on your army. So for example, these guys here all have turquoise for their armor panels. We have like different shades of purple and pink, but because the bases are the same throughout the army, like these guys being all gray, it actually ends up kind of working out for the best. So that's pretty much how it works with these. These guys are called the Ash Hounds, in case you're wondering as well, because of their grayish color. And that's what we're using for these guys. Always should have a unit of Warhounds in every Warriors of Chaos or Chaos Legion army, because they make wonderful chaff. You can attack war machines, use them for march blocking, use them to intercept units, to act as speed bumps. It's always nice to have a disposal unit of 30 guys on hand whenever you need to. So that makes it the Ash Hounds. So the very last thing we're going to talk about next is our Flesh Carnival, as well as our Chaos Sorcerer Lord. So let's go talk about those guys next. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about real quick is our unit of Forsaken. These guys are called the Flesh Carnival. And as you can see, these guys look a little bit different than your traditional Forsaken that you see in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And the reason why that is the case is because these miniatures are actually Chaos Space Marine miniatures. These guys are known as Possess, is what they're known as. And the reason why I use these guys for my Forsaken is for a couple reasons. One, the reason why is because they were readily available. I was able to get about 15 of these miniatures for for super cheap on these guys. And the reason why is because at my local gaming store, somebody was selling these guys secondhand, and I managed to get all 15 of these guys for about 10 bucks. And the reason why is because a lot of them had broken limbs, they had things missing like their backpacks, some of these guys had missing arms and stuff, some of their limbs were actually, some parts of the miniatures actually snapped off and were broken. So because I was able to get a really good deal on these guys, and that's the reason why, primarily why I got them, because buying miniatures secondhand is always a good idea if you can, and you can repaint them up to make them look like anything you want. And that's the main reason why these guys are the unit Forsaken, are the way that they look. I'm not going to pay 50 bucks for a box of 10 miniatures when I can get 15 miniatures for 10 bucks. I mean, and they look kind of like what they're supposed to represent, which are these ever-mutating, always changing creatures of chaos, and that seemed like a really good idea to me at the time. Also in this unit as well, I also have my Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh mounted on a demonic mount, and this guy here is the old 5th edition, I believe what he is, Warhammer Fantasy Chaos Lord of Slaanesh on a Steed of Slaanesh, if I remember correctly. This is an actually old pewter model that I was able to buy a long time ago. I bought this guy off Amazon, I believe, like a long time ago. And then, of course, I have my Exalted Hero, which is actually just a unit filler, just to make it into an even 16 Forsaken. And this is actually a custom-built, converted miniature from a Stormcast Turtle miniature. And we'll talk about exactly how I went about making those guys as well. So as you can see, these guys look really cool. These possessed Space Marines are they're based. The color scheme that went for these guys is based off of Warhammer 40,000 Emperor's Children's color scheme. Now I really don't play Warhammer 40,000, but I am very aware of Warhammer 40,000 lore and stories and stuff. Like I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of the Black Legion novels. That's written by Aaron Debsky-Bowden, and they talk about Emperor's Children quite a bit. From my understanding, don't quote me on this now, but from my understanding in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, the Emperor's Children were a loyalist marine legion that served the Imperium of Mankind. And I believe they were a Imperial Legion that got, Space Marine Legion that was corrupted by Slaanesh, I think is how it worked for those guys. And one of the cool things about them is that their armor was actually kind of a purplish color, as well as gold, if I remember correctly, from the stories anyhow. And of course, over time and tide, the armor has paled to different shades of purple. So you have like this lilac purple, this magenta, this other regal purple color here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you got like a little bit of purple color there as well. So because I decided to paint these guys in different shades of purple, pink, as well as magenta, just because I like the idea of these guys, you know, being based on that. I thought it was a kind of a cool color scheme as well. And the neat thing about these guys, I pull out this miniature here, for example, so that way you can see them a little bit better. So if you'll notice, I have a little number here on the bottom of the base. And the reason why is because you got to do that to make these guys rank up. But if you look at this guy's particular color scheme, I decided to kind of go like with a two-type color scheme. First of all, I decided to paint some of the armor panels in this purple color armor, so that way it's like that way, and it's also rimmed in black for all the scroll work. At the same time, I also left some of the armor panels black and then rimmed those in gold as well. Just thought it'd be kind of interesting to have like this mismatched armor look to them, considering the fact that these guys are supposed to be like all mutated and stuff. I decided to kind of go with this grayish, bluish colored skin tone for the flesh, and we achieved that effect by using Folk Art Skyline and then dry brushing it with Granite Gray, which is the exact same color scheme we used for Chaos Warhounds. That way the gray was a nice complementary color to the black as well as to the purple in the armor. All the bone bits, of course, are picked out with khaki. And we, of course, also used kiwi to pick out some of the green, because the green was a nice contrasting color that really, you know, stuck out against these guys. And I'm really happy with the way that these Forsaken or Possessed Space Marines came out. In fact, I'm actually going to do a video this week, actually, that's going to show you guys how to quickly and easily paint these guys up. Because the paint job was actually quite easy to do. The only hard part, of course, was the scroll work. Like I said before, painting up Chaos miniatures like this gold scroll work here on his gauntlet here, that's a real pain to do. It's a chore, I'm not going to lie on that part. So this unit did take a little bit longer to do that because I wanted to pick out some of those parts in gold. But like I said before, I'll show actually a little video about how we actually did that. So that's what the Forsaken look like. So you see we got this bright magenta color here for the armor on some of these guys. The black scroll work as well. And then of course you got the normal traditional purple color, as you can see there with this guy here. Really happy with the way it came out. What we're going to do next, though, of course, is concentrate on this guy here. Let me get this miniature out real fast. Now this miniature here is actually a custom-made conversions what this is. I converted this miniature using a couple of bits and bobs. Primarily, this miniature is a Stormcast Eternal miniature. I was going to use this for Svingvald the Magnificent, I believe is the name of the special character. Just thought I would look something like that, because I didn't want to pay money for that additional miniature, not when I had a spare Stormcast Eternal miniature that I could use. Because, you know, think about it, if you're Slaanesh, you want to look nice, right? Slaanesh guys are usually all about their appearance and things. And so that's what I based this off of, because it looked very clean and neat. I forgot the name of the special character that this miniature is based off of. It's a female Stormcast Eternal miniature. I know that much. She carries like twin axes. She's like the leader of like the Vanguard, I believe, she did. What I did is I took some spare Stormcast Eternal sword blades. I chopped them up and attached them to the hands to make it look like this character's carrying two sword blades. Now the head actually comes from an old Dark Eldar Archon, I believe they're called, miniature. I managed to get the head off of one of those guys. I forgot where I got it from, but I just managed to find like a fine cast head, and that's what I replaced the head with, so that way it has like this elongated kind of top knot looking thing. Painted the entire thing in black for the most part with some pink accents. So you see we got like this pink accent on the armor and the gauntlets and stuff. Use a lot of gold and a lot of min-wax polyacrylic to make it look really cool. And that's what we use to create this Exalted Hero, or this, in this case, Forsaken Unit Filler. And that's what I used for that guy. Really, really happy with the way that came out. And then, of course, the last miniature we're talking about real quick, and move these out of the way. We'll talk about our Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Slaanesh. So here's this one here. This is a unit, the army's Chaos Sorcerer. As you can see, it's the old school metal pewter Chaos Lord of Slaanesh on Steed of Slaanesh. And this guy came out really, really nice. Really happy with the way it came out as well. It just looks all kinds of awesome. It's got this awesome halberd that the character is carrying as well. So we could also run this character as a Chaos Lord if you want to as well. So there's nothing stopping us from doing that. Just really pleased. As you can see, we basically kept the same kind of color scheme. I went with black armor on this character with some gold accents. I also used some pink and some fuchsia to pick out the robes as well as the helmet crest. The crest is actually just kiwi. Add some, you know, bright color to it. As you kept up the black rimming on the purple colored. I tried to take some pink, magenta, as well as purples and combine it with this unit, because this unit leader here was the unit leader for the Forsaken unit. And that's what we went about creating that character real quick. So I put that Source Lord back. And put it with the Forsaken, as well as the unit champion real quick. So yeah, really, really happy with the way that this unit, the Flesh Carnival, came out. They looked really, really awesome as well. Alright, and the last thing we're going to do now before we get done with this video is talk about future projects and talk about what we're working on next. Alright, so here we are at my painting station. We're going to talk about our next big projects that are coming next. Actually, there's only a couple of things that we actually have left over that we need to do to finish up this army. We have a unit of Seekers we need to work on, a unit of Hellstriders, they're 5 apiece. I also got some Fiends of Slaanesh, but the next big unit I'm working on next is this unit of Demonettes of Slaanesh. I got 24 of them to finish up. I got 20 Demonettes as well as an Infernal and Rapturous from the Age of Sigmar Wrath and Ruin box set. So I'm going to paint those ladies next. I'm not sure what the color scheme is going to be on these yet. I don't want to do your typical purplish, grayish colored Demonettes just because, you know, you see those all the time. So what I'm currently doing right now is kind of surfing the net, looking on Google Images and things, looking for interesting looking Demonette color schemes in order to rock that. Another miniature I'm going to work next is on this Demon Prince of Slaanesh as well. Now, I don't have a Demon Prince of Slaanesh in the actual army list, but I did have a spare Demon Prince miniature. So I'm going to paint this guy up so that way in case, you know, anybody get Eyes of the Guards Trust and they get Apotheosis and they become a Demon Prince, it'll look really awesome as well. So that's the next project. Also, another thing I have back here too, I have an extra Chaos Warrior miniature. This is from Hero Quest, the old Slambo miniature. I'm going to rebase this guy so that way it looks like he's leading a unit of Chaos Warhounds. And the reason why is because when I was a kid there was this really cool heavy metal picture of a Chaos Warrior leading a pack of Warhounds, which I thought looked really, really cool. And it just kind of stuck with me, so I thought it'd be cool to have this guy lead them. So it looks really neat. And if you notice here, I also have a Noise Marine the special edition Noise Marine that Games Workshop released. The reason why I have this, guys, because I plan on doing some kill team battle reports in order to fill up some time, because I can only do so many cheap shots and do so many Slaanesh channel updates before, you know, you guys will get bored with it. So I decided, you know, even though I am by myself, and I am by myself, I can't really wargame with my friends because of the current situation with the quarantine. My state governor of my state, anyways, has extended our quarantine until pretty much the end of the month. So because of that, I will not be able to wargame my friends. So because of that, I'm going to start doing some solo wargaming instead. Now, a lot of you guys recommended doing Tabletop Simulator, which is kind of a good idea. The only problem is, though, is that the screen capture effect on my computer doesn't look right, and then not all my friends can do it. So thank you for the suggestion of using Tabletop Simulator for that one. But I think what I'll do, I'll just do some solo wargaming with Kill Team. My friends and I haven't played Kill Team in a long time. I haven't played Kill Team in a while. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do just like a small little Kill Team campaign for you guys to keep you guys entertained. Now, the only problem is, of course, is that it is a solo game. So I will be by myself when I film it, which will be kind of weird, you know, to play against yourself. It'd be kind of different. But, you know, be kind of cool at the same time, though. I'm actually pretty excited doing it. I actually have this idea to actually have like a little chart that I make up where it's random, and I just see exactly what my opponent, my quote-unquote opponent, will do. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm still kind of wargaming the idea out. But my idea for that is just to have a small little mini campaign where there's 4 warbands, 4 kill teams, each one dedicated to a different chaos god, and then see exactly how that works out. But, you know, I'll talk about that later if I ever decide to do that, just because, you know, it'd be kind of interesting to see solo wargaming. But anyways, but that's what I'm working on next. It's a huge unit of Slaanesh Demonettes that I'm working on, as well as this Demon Prince, and then of course I got my Seekers I gotta work on, as well as my Hellstriders, and then finally my 3 Fiends, and then this unit and this army will be completely done. And there you have it, guys. This is the progress I made so far on my 3,000 point Slaanesh Legion of Chaos army. And as you see, we're actually making a lot of progress and getting through it very, very quickly, especially given the time that we now have time to paint because everybody's on lockdown right now for the quarantine. So that's good to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest information about what's going on in the hobby aspect of our videos. In fact, if you've been following us on Facebook and Instagram, you've definitely been seeing the progress we made so far on this army. So that's good for this week, guys. You guys stay classy. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, you guys.